My name is Ionis. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to implement the query designs we created a few videos back into implementing them into your actual Microsoft Access database. To get started, we need to actually open our query designs on one side, and on the other side, we need to have our actual database. Then we're going to select Create. And from the drop-down menu here, we are going to select Query Design. From the Query Design window, we need to basically follow the instructions from our query designs. For example, this query will use the TBL patients. So what I need to do is click and drag the TBL patients here. I'm just going to increase the width and the height so I can actually make sure that all the information is fully displayed. And the table TBL gender as well. So one way to do it by clicking and drag it, or we can just double click it to actually bring it into our stage here. So I'm just going to resize the box here so I can see fully the field names. Okay, so the next thing we need to apply here is all the attributes we want to display. So we no longer need the Add Tables window. So we need to display from the TBL patients, which is here, we need to display the first name. Okay, so I can click and drag the first name here. The surname, another way to do it is I can just double click it. It's a quicker way to do it. The phone number, I'm going to double click on the phone number, and the address, and the gender ID. Next, from the TBL gender, we need the name. So I'm going to just double click the name. So we've got all the attributes here. Now, let's go through the query argument. So TBL patients gender ID equals to 2. So from the TBL patients, the gender ID, here is our criteria. As you can see, this is the section for the criteria just below the checkbox. I'm just going to I can put just the number 2 here, or I can actually put equals to, it's same thing. Okay? And the records need to be sorted based into ascending order for the TBL patient's first name. So first name here, sort, we need to sort them into ascending order. Okay, so now I've followed fully my query designs. I have actually implemented them onto Microsoft Access, and now I'm ready to save my query. And I'm going to save the query. I'm just going to highlight the name of my query, copy this, and now I'm going to click on the save icon here, the floppy disk, and I'm just going to Control V to paste, or you can manually type the actual name. And click OK. So I've just created my first query. So if I execute this query, so if I maximize this window here, and I click on the Query Design tab, I can actually click here. Let's leave this, let's pin this so it's always on a display. I'm just going to click here, Run. So basically I'm displaying now only the male patients. Okay, now the gender ID, I'm not going to display, I don't want to display this because this is a bit confusing for people. I'm just going to go back to the design view and basically uncheck this box. Now if I run the query, I do not longer display the gender ID. If I close this now, let's click yes. And I double click here on my query. Let's make this a bit bigger, wider. If I double click on my query, straight away I will be able to display all the male patients. Okay. Let's put this on the side again. Now, my next query is pretty much the same, but instead of male patients, is female patients. So I've got absolutely everything the same. So a quick way to do it is I'm going to just right click on my query, select copy, right click here and select paste. and I just need to change the name of my query. I'm just going to copy this and replace it with this name, which is female patients. Click OK. And now on the female patients, I'm going to right click and select design view. And the only thing I need to change here is the argument. So let's maximize this a little bit, make it a bit bigger. The argument, the female patients, is the ID 1. So if I go to the gender table, the female patients are ID 1. So the only thing I need to change here is put, instead of 2, I'm just going to set it up to 1. And then click Save. Remember, we already saved that before as a female patients. And if I go to the query design tab and click Run, now I can see all the female patients. So this is a very quick and straightforward way to basically create 2 queries. Now the next query is not going to be as straightforward. So let's make it a bit smaller, because we're going to have to start it from scratch. So the next query we need to create is all the patients who born before 2000. So let's go again to Create, select Query Design. Now let's find out which tables we need. We only need here only one table here, TBL patients. I'm going to just double click the TBL patients. I'm going to increase the size of the table here so I can have all the attributes fully displayed. And here's what we need. We need the first name, the surname, the phone number, and the address. So first name, surname, double clicking, phone number, and address. Then we need also the TBL patient's date of birth. So we need the date of birth. Let's close this now. We don't no longer need this. The date of birth. And then for the date of birth, we need to basically say less than the 1st of the 1st, 2000. So I'm going to copy this argument and put here on the criteria. Paste it. So it's less than the 1st of the 1st, 2000. Now, if I would like to include and the 1st of the 1st, then I will put less than or equals to. But I just want to basically select only the people who were born before the 2000. Now, because here I don't want to display the date of birth, I'm just going to uncheck this box. Okay, and let's see, these records need to be sorted into descending order based on the patient's date of birth. So I can click here for the sort and select descending order. Now I'm going to highlight the name of my query and select copy. Then I'm going to click on the save button here, which is the little floppy disk icon. And I'm going to Control and V to paste what I just copied. So now I have my new query created, all QRY, all patients who born before 2000. QRY is short for query, TBL is short for table, FRM short for phone, and RPT is short for report. So now, as you can see here, I put lots of spaces between, which is fine. You don't have to put, you can actually add spaces. It will still work fine. But it's good practice if you do not use spaces. The reason why I've done this on my video tutorial is so you can actually see that the query or my object that I create is still going to work fine. All right, so let's test our query by selecting Run from the Query Design tab. We're going to click Run, and now I can see that I've got 2 patients who born before 2000. Now, if I would like to display on the year that they born, the date of birth, I can always go to the design view and basically check the box here to display the date of birth. So let's run that. So as you can see here is so if I change this year for this person 2000, and 1. Okay, and I'm going to refresh here my query. This information now, this other record is disappeared because this person was born after 2000. So if I go to the patients table, the record still exists. The reason why it's not showing is because this person was born in 2001. So if I change that now again to, let's say, 1900, this person was born in 1900. Let's close this and refresh this query. We can actually see that the person's record still coming up because it's before 2000. Okay. Now we've done our third query. Let's click Save. Yes. Let's go through to create our fourth query. So our fourth query is to find particular customers based on their surname. So if I put patients, based on the surname. So if I go here to the patients table, I've got the surname blue, pink, and green. Okay. So let's go to create again, and we're going to select query design. And in this case, we only need again one table. So I'm going to double click the patients table. Let's close this window. And let's increase the width and the height of this table here. All right. So we need the first name, the surname, and the phone number, and the address. And we want basically our argument to be this. Please type the patient's surname. So just going to copy this. You can put the equal sign, or if you don't put it, that's okay. Still okay. With or without. So I'm going to put this on there. I put here surname on the first name. Okay, so I'm just going to change that to surname, because this is what we're looking for. Surname. That was my bad. You can put on first name if you like. So because we're looking for surname, we're going to put on this under surnames criteria. So I'm going to copy this, Control C to copy. I'm going to go under the surname criteria here, Control V to paste. Okay, so I can increase the width a little bit so we can actually see the information here. Now, the information within the square brackets is the message that people will basically be able to receive. Let's continue our query design. So these records need to be sorted based on ascending order based on the patient's first name. So we'll go for the first name and then we set them to ascend. Let's change that again to the surname, make it a bit more appropriate. Surname. Okay, so we're going to change the ascending order to surname. Okay, now feel free to make any changes. When you're making changes on your query designs, you can actually, if you have changed your mind and you want to customize the query slightly differently to the original designs, make sure you update your designs as well. So your designs needs to always match your actual queries. Okay, so we've done that. Now let's copy the name, the actual name here. You can right click copy or Control C to copy. Click on the little floppy disk icon here at the top left corner. Control V to paste, or right click and paste. Click OK. So we created our fourth query now. So if I close this query now, QRY find patients by searching for their surname. So if I double click this now, automatically this will come up. Click OK. Oops. What happened here? QRY patients by searching for their surname is not valid name. Okay, make sure you do not include characters. Okay, I think let's go back here to the design view. Let's have a look. I think the apostrophe there, the patients, because we put apostrophe here. The apostrophe doesn't like the apostrophe, basically. Okay, so I'll put patient surname. Okay, let's close this now. Let's save it. Let's see if that was the issue. Nope. Maybe it doesn't like the it doesn't like the exclamation mark. So let's go to design view and let's remove the exclamation mark. Let's run it. Yeah, okay, it's running now. So let's close that. Yes. Let's double click it. Okay, so it didn't like the exclamation mark, so let's cancel that. Let's try to apply again the apostrophe S. Patient, so we are grammatically correct. Talking about being fussy a little bit. Okay, patience apostrophe S. Let's see if it's gonna run that now. So if I double click on my query, yes, it's working. It's just that it didn't like, for some reason, didn't like the exclamation mark. Okay, so I'm just going to search for a patient who their surname is Blue. And click OK. And yes, this patient exists, and I display the patient's first name, their phone number, and the address. So the first name, the phone number, and the address. Where's the surname? Oops. I think I want to check the box for the surname. Let's go. Yep. Let's check this box. So we want to display the surname as well. So let's close that. Let's click yes. Let's double click it again. Let's say Pink, because we have a surname Pink. We already have a patient with a surname Pink. Okay. So the first name is Victoria, phone number, address, and surname. Now, if you want to change the order, let's go back to the design view. You can always basically change that to, let's maximize this. If you click and drag, okay, so can you see that? So I'm just clicking here to select the whole column. And then when I do that, I click and drag. Oops. Let's click. When this changes to a black arrow that points downwards, click. And then click. Oops. Click. And then it's not doing it now. That's it. Click and drag. And then you can actually rearrange the location. Okay, so we have the first name, the surname, the phone number, and the address. That's better. Let's close it. Let's double click again the query. Let's type the word blue. Click OK. And now we can see David Blue, that's the number, and that's their address. So why do we need a query like this? Because it's going to be quicker for the receptionist to basically find the particular customer as they know their surname and basically call the customer to confirm an appointment or to ask a question maybe, or to cancel an appointment and notify the patient. There's quite a few reasons why this query is going to be a useful query. Okay. Finally, let's go to our fifth and final query. Let's put this on the side. Let's make this a bit smaller. Our final query will have multiple tables. So let's go to create. We're going to create a new query by using the query design view. We need the patients table. Make sure we have here queries that we need the table selected. So we need the patients table. Double click. Let's make this a bit bigger. We also need the appointments table. We're going to make it bigger in a minute. and we need the gender table. Okay, so we can exit this window now. So we have the patients, the appointments, and the gender. Let's put it there, so nice and easy to see. Now we need, from the gender table, we need the name, so we can double click this. For the TBL patients, we need first name, surname, phone number, and address. So we need first name, surname, phone number, and address. And from the appointments table, we need the date of the appointment. Cool. Now, our criteria is the TBL appointments. So date of the appointment is greater than or equals to date add, and then in parentheses, then within the double quotes, we're going to put D, comma, -7. So it's going to basically, we're looking for the last 5 days. We can say 7 days minus, if we say 5, we need to change that to 5, okay? Or if we say last 7 days, let's change that back to 7. It's up to you what you want to do. And then the date argument is basically, is picking up the current date, okay, on the computer, and basically removes 7 days basically. So this is our argument. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it under the date of the appointment. So let's maximize this under date of the appointment, Control V to paste. And let's see what else we need to include here. Descending order, we need to set up to descending order based on the date of the appointment. So that's the order, descending order based on the date of the appointment. And this is it. Let's go here and make sure we have the right name. Control C to copy. Let's click on the Save tab, Control V to paste. Click OK. And now we have our final query. Now our final query will show us all the patients, okay, who have been treated within the last 7 days. So we're going to double click here. Our query returns no results. This is because we did not have any appointments within the last 7 days. So if I go to the appointments, and let's say, for instance, today's date is the 4th of the 4th, I'm just going to change that to, let's say, the 2nd of the 4th. So 2nd, let's say 0204, and then press enter. Okay, so I've got the date there. So if I close this window now, click refresh, oops, is not returning. Now the reason why it's not returning date is because on the appointments table, if I go to the design view, let's close this query as well. Let's close everything. Let's go to the TBL appointments design view. Here the date of the appointment is set to short text. Now this is a big problem. So when the when we're talking about date, if the date type is not correct, the query will not run the correct result. So what we need to do here, we need to change this from short text to date and time. Okay, so if we go back now to the dataset view and click OK, yes, as you can see, all the dates have been changed, okay, have been removed. So it is important for us to basically, when we create a database system, to make sure that we use the correct date types at the beginning. Otherwise, if we change them at later date, all the dates will be removed. Okay, so it is important for us to do this in the first place correctly. Okay, so when it comes to date, always set the date to the correct date type, which is date and time. Okay, so let's change that to 0204 2024, and here we're going to change that to 0304 2024. The next date I'm going to change that to 20/03/2024, and change that to 15/03/2024. As you can see now, the only two appointments are within the last 7 days, sorry, are these two appointments. Okay, so if I close this now and run my query, appointments, okay, so all the patients treated in the last 7 days. So if I double click now, I can actually see, so that have two patients that have been treated, okay, within the past 7 days. Both patients called David, one is called David Blue, and the other one is called David Green, and I could actually call them to ask them for a feedback, maybe, what do you think, what you thought of your experience, did you have a good experience when you visit our practice, something like that. Okay, so this concludes our tutorial on how to implement query designs into Microsoft Access in order to create professional and useful queries that will return useful information. I hope you have learned something new today. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.